With so many tennis rackets on the market, you may be struggling to think, what should I get? Well, wonder no more. Here are my top 5. Today, I'm going to be taking you through my top 5 tennis rackets. We're now at a point in the year where a majority of the new releases have happened, which means I have tested all the new rackets along with the old ones to decide on my top 5. Now, I have a couple of ways of deciding which rackets make my top 5. There are ones that I just personally love to use, and they'll be kind of near the top of the list. There are also ones that I just think are brilliant at doing what they're supposed to do. So the way they're designed and the way they've been produced just fit a certain profile of player so well that they deserve a place on my list. So that is how I've worked it out. We're going to get started with my top 5th racket in my list. Sentence didn't work properly. Full stop. Before I get into my true top 5, I do have an honourable mention, and we're sat here in early March, so we've just had the release of this very tame, boring looking racket, the Head Radical. Not much to say about it cosmetically, kind of a bit dull, but it plays very, very nicely, and the reason why it hasn't made the top 5 is I just haven't quite used it enough yet to kind of get it to usurp anything else that is on my list. This that I have here is the Pro, just to show you what it is, but I'm actually talking about the MP. It's the MP that I really like. I think having that 98 square inch head in a 300 gram is quite unique. I think it fits a really great profile of club level tennis player, maybe someone who's slowing down a bit after having a higher level, playing more doubles. It's a very playable frame, very easy to pick up and use. You get a great balance between power, spin and control, and it's for that the Radical MP is my honourable mention. Who knows, maybe next year it will make the list. At number 5 on my list, I have the first racket that just fits a profile of player so beautifully, it has to be in my top 5. And it is the new Wilson Clash 100 Pro. It could have equally been the 100. I had a big toss up between the two, and I went with the Pro because it's the one that I would use if I was going to use one, but they both are brilliant for what they are. Now, the Wilson Clash is set out to be a comfort racket that is power and comfort, and it achieves both of those things perfectly. It's so soft, it's like playing with a pillow, and if you want to have a nice easy time, I know a lot of coaches that say feed a lot of balls are starting to look at things like the Clash. It's so good, and the kind of uniqueness of how the frame flexes on impact but doesn't twist, so you get stability on the actual contact but you get flex vertically and horizontally so you can generate spin, makes it a delight to use. So the Clash 100/100 Pro is number 5 on my list. If you want an easy time, check it out. At number 4 on my list, a bit of a throwback for me, is the Head Extreme MP. This is a racket that I used a long time ago, and I've always had an affinity towards it, and this current version with its Zetic 2.0 is so nice to use. It's certainly a comfortable, powerful frame, but with that added hint of spin access to spin. I'm speaking sentences way wrong round. So the Extreme is obviously Head's spin frame, and along with its sort of Zetic-ness in it, making it nice and solid on contact, you can generate loads and loads of spin. It is a toss-up between this and something like an Aero 100, of which one I prefer, but I've gone with the Head Extreme because it has a little bit of a softer feel. You can't generate as much spin as something like an Aero, but that soft feel makes it a bit more of an all-rounder, and why it is number 4 on my list. At number 3 on my list, we're getting into the top 3, we're in the bronze medal position. It is the Wilson Blade, and specifically the 100. Now, the 98s, the 1619 and 1820 are brilliant rackets, don't get me wrong. And for that sort of classic feeling control frame, but not to that kind of crazy extent of something like a Pro Staff when you're comparing to, say, like Strikes, Gravity Tours, then the Blades really are a great option. But I've gone with the 100 because it's a little unusual, being the 100 square inch head in this more control frame, and I just really like it. Whenever I've used it, I've always thought, oh, maybe I should use this, because you get that slight easier access to power because slightly bigger head, string pattern's a bit more open. You certainly get a lot more spin, but you still get that classic Blade feel. from the narrow beam and the flex that you generate from the shot. One issue that I have with blades, with the 98s, is that it's great when you're playing well and you're in your front foot and attacking, but as soon as things start going a bit badly, or you're playing up as a big hitter, big servers, it lacks a little bit of extra oomph when you're defending and shortening up the swing. The 100, you don't get that. So the 100 is easier to defend with, easier to play and counter punch with, but it's still very nice when you're on the front foot and attacking. So it's because of that I think the 100 is great, and I think more people should use it. Things are getting serious. It's number 2 on my list, the second best racket in the world right now that anyone can get, and it is, in its Sam beige form, the Yonex VCore 98. Now, the VCore range is Yonex's spin range. However, it doesn't actually generate that much spin. So you might think, well, it's supposed to be a spin racket, doesn't generate much spin. It still generates spin, but it's much more of an all-rounder. It's such a well-rounded racket. It's the one that we use to test all our strings in because we think it's a nice balance between power, spin and control, and it certainly is that. I think it is the racket in the world that if the most people used it, along with, say, some others, and ranked it, it would be consistently, on average, the highest pick. No one's going to use it and say, oh, I really don't like that VCore 98. There's nothing to not like. If you play a long whippy swing, you'll like it. If you like to shorten it up and punch it, you'll like it. If you like to play touch and feel around the net, you'll like it. It's a really great racket that's been produced. The Sam beige cosmetic, not for everyone. I quite like it. I prefer it to the scarlet red, which is the alternate colour you can get. But the VCore 98, a superb racket, one that if you're maybe coming out of like an intermediate level and looking to take tennis more seriously and want to get a first racket, you genuinely could not go wrong with a VCore 98. The moment you have been waiting for, the moment I have been waiting for, it is number 1, the best racket on my list, the number 1 racket in the world right now, and there is no surprise, it is the Bablap Pure Drive. This is so good. The Bablap Pure Drive has always been so good. So powerful, so easy to use, so fun. And the new one is a step up. They've raised it. The feel has improved. And that was always the issue with Pure Drives. Yes, you could generate huge amounts of power with little short counter-punching swings, but when it came to it, if the ball was low and you had to maneuver the racket, if you had to try and play a drop shot, it was like playing like you were a caveman with stone hands. But now, the introduction of flax tape in the throat of this 100 and in the 98 has really softened the feel on impact, made it feel a lot less harsh. Not that I really minded it feeling harsh before, but it's meant it felt more maneuverable and suddenly almost a little bit, not whippier because it's not whippier, but that you can kind of pick up that ball off your toes. You can just chip that ball back, and that's something that you could never really do with Pure Drives before. But this new one has maintained its access to power, it's maintained that kind of huge striking ability, but softened up nicely. Nobody that has demoed this racket has disliked it. Everybody likes it. Everybody who's got the previous one and has tried the new one has gone, oh yeah, that is an upgrade. So it's certainly one that I recommend trying. I like it with either a sync mains and 0 cross, or an RPM power and exalt combo, around £50. So if you want to try that out, that is my top pick for the Pure Drive. But number 1 racket to buy this year that you must try is the Bablap Pure Drive. So there you have it. My top 5 rackets of 2025 is here, topped off by the wonderful Bablap Pure Drive. Now, let us know your top 5s. Have you used the Pure Drive? Do you think it stinks? Of course you don't. Put it in the comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you're comparing what we said last year to this year and what you think should have made it. There's obviously loads of other rackets we don't test. There's thousands available in the world, but we do test a lot, and of all the ones available to us, these were my top 5. So don't delay, get yourself a Pure Drive, and we'll see you soon.